from Indianapolis, this is All Access Indy. Indy 11 coming up. The boys in blue are back and ready to make a deeper run in the U.S. Open Cup and the USL playoffs.
We all want to win, but you don't win in match week 1. You don't win, 18 games into the season. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Look good, feel good, play good. The 11 unveiled new uniforms for the upcoming season, and they have earned rave reviews.
I think it encapsulates the city, the checkered pattern on it, and just the flow of it. I think it's fantastic, and I can't wait to rep it.
Plus, we'll go one-on-one with the youngest player to ever score a goal for the 11.
It's always been a goal ever since I was young, but for it to happen this fast, it's kind of just blown me away.
Let the season begin. All Access Indy. Indy 11 starts now.
Hi, everybody. Good evening to you, and welcome to All Access Indy 11. I'm Anthony Calhoun. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll get you ready for the 2025 season as the 11 begin the year with a pair of road matches before returning to the Circuit City for the home opener on March the 29th. Plus, the boys in blue will try to pick up where they left off last year in both the U.S. Open Cup and the USL playoffs. And we can't talk about the 11 without talking about the youngest goal scorer in the history of the franchise. That's later on in the show. But we begin tonight on there at Grand Park. Yeah, the boys in blue excited to be back to work after a promising season came up short. But getting the tastes of the playoffs for just the second time since the 2019 season and finishing the regular season with a winning record are both reasons for the year's team to be ready to take the next step. To say this team better have a desire to win and play as a team might be an understatement.
Desire to play for Indy 11 is huge, and that's what we've tried to nail down to the whole team. Once you've signed for us, you're part of us, and this is the team that you can win a competition with. And any moment that I don't see that desire to play for the shirt and for the crest, they'll move on. And that's just the way it is. And I've got a group now who all want to play for us and are all excited to start the season.
I think when you have a group with 10 plus returning guys, 15 plus guys, a lot of the core guys are back, I think it makes that transition for the newer guys easier. And obviously, there wasn't any changes on the coaching staff, so that helps as well. And I think we've done well as a group, and especially to the new guys coming in, fitting in well, and getting up to speed.
Okay, so here's a look at the upcoming schedule for your boys in blue. Hey, the 11 kick off the 2025 season starting up tomorrow night. That's right, down in Florida against Miami FC at Pitbull Stadium. And then a kickoff for that game is set for 6:30, followed by another road match at Lexington FC on March the 22nd. And then on the 29th of March, they're going to play at Carroll Stadium. We'll be rocking, of course, as the 11 open up the home portion of the schedule against Colorado Springs at 7 o'clock. The season is here, everybody. As the 11 begin the 2024 season, the boys in blue have their sights set on a little history for the franchise. We're talking about a championship, something this team has yet to be able to do since joining the USL in 2018. After getting the taste of the playoffs for the second straight season, they are embracing the chance to make a little history.
It mean a lot for the club, the community, and for the guys. We put a lot of work in, so that's the end goal this year, so hopefully we can get that.
I think we have so much depth of this group. I think everyone can start for this team, and we can all push each other to be the best team. I believe we're the best team in the East, and I think we can show it this season by showing where we place in the standings. I mean, I think it'd mean a lot to the team. It was definitely our goal last year, being the 11th season. It would have gone well with Indy 11, but I mean, the priority is always the same, to go as far as we can and at least lift one piece of silverware this year.
Okay, good luck to Indy 11. Time for a break, folks. We got much more coming your way here tonight. Glad you're hanging out with us. Coming up next, the voice of the Indy 11, Greg Greatstraw. He sits down with me ahead of the season opener. Looking forward to catching up with Greg to take his take on all the topics, including year 2 of the Sean McCulley era and how this team is taking on the identity even more this year than last year. That's on the way. Plus, he's the youngest member of the Indy 11 to ever score a goal for the franchise. A story all soccer fans from the Circuit City won't want to miss. That's still ahead here, coming up. Okay, we are back here on Countdown to Kickoff. Indy 11, Anthony Calhoun here with you tonight. There's nobody that knows this team more than the guy sitting right here to my left. We're talking about the voice of the Indy 11. He knows all sports here, right? My man here, Greg Greatshaw. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Glad to have you here. All right, you go from high school football, high school basketball. Now we're gearing up for Indy 11, which many people think, okay, soccer better be in the summertime. No, let's start in March. How excited are you for the upcoming season?
Well, I'm fired up. I mean, this is obviously year number 12.
Wow.
You know, and you'll tell the story of Logan Neidlinger coming up a little bit later in the program. We are now to the point as a franchise where young kids that grew up watching us and emulated, wanted to play for the Indy 11, now score goals and score professional contracts for the team. That is how long the Indy 11 have been around, and I am honored to be the voice of the team since day number 1.
I love it. So let me ask you this. How excited are you about how this team was put together? We saw the success they had last year, but now going into another year, how thrilled are you about what you see on paper that you hope it translates here on the field?
Well, you heard it from both Romario Williams and Hunter Salt in the opening segment of the show. Romario talked about, hey, there's 10, 12, 15 guys back from the team, and that's absolutely the case. You know, Sean McCauley did do some roster reconstruction as the season went along last year. So this is the group that was largely together, say August, September, October into the playoffs in November. The point that Hunter Salt said in the opening segment about how anybody can start, I think he's spot on. I think 1 through 20, this is the most depth I have ever seen on an Indy 11 team. And I think that depth pays off as the season goes along.
And saying that, if you're Coach McCauley here, you have to be thrilled, year 2 for yourself, and knowing that you got a lot of playmakers that can get it done on the field, right?
Correct. And again, for Coach McCauley, it's frankly the reason he was brought in. Again, you know, his background is growing up in the Manchester United system as a youth. He literally calls Sir Alex Ferguson, one of the most legendary soccer coaches on the planet, a friend. But he has now played or coached in North America the better part of a quarter of a century. So, for example, I don't think we get a keeper as good as Hunter Salt, who is on loan for the Portland Timbers, if Sean hadn't worked for the Portland Timbers previously. We've got a young man named Finn McRobb that is going to come off the bench for us as a defender. He was in the Minnesota United system last year, where Sean was the caretaker manager for them at the end of the 2023 season. So playmakers, yes, but Sean is the roster maker and has done a good job of putting this group together.
Yeah, we're looking at pictures here of a coach now. It seems like, you know, his players, they have a lot of respect for him. He seems like he has a good time. Walk us through this for all the folks who are getting ready for this season. What type of coach we're looking at?
He is a player's coach, but he is also a guy, for example, I have loved my relationship with pretty much every coach in the Indy 11, but there has not been a man that is more receptive to, hey, happy to be on the radio show. Hey, happy to talk to you on the broadcast than Sean McCauley. He is always a guy that I've got an open line to. And I think he does a great job of walking the fine line between being a player's coach but holding guys accountable. And I think we also have the right mix of young guys like Logan, like Hunter, et cetera, but also the veteran players. You saw from Cam Lindley, a guy like Aiden Quinn, who we yet to mention, he's one of the best 11 players in the history of the league. Jack Blake, who we saw briefly, he is a guy that I think is going to be the leading goal scorer for this group, and he's now in his 10th year of playing professional soccer again. It's the right combination in terms of talent, in terms of depth, in terms of attitude. Maybe there have been bigger off seasons in terms of impact signings, but in terms of the way the roster is constructed, I think it's the deepest group we've ever had.
Yeah, you know, when you look at the makeup of this team right now, how good can this team be?
I think this team can be very good. Now, again, I love the bravado and the confidence, and frankly, you want the guys saying, we're the best team in the East, we're the best team in the league. There are some great franchises in our half. You know, for example, last year for Lou City, which was year 10 for them, it was the first year they didn't make the conference finals at a minimum. That's how good they have been. Charleston has really reversed course. Ben Pierman's a fantastic coach. In fact, Louisville and Charleston just played last week, and Lou City got the early win. Tampa Bay is a perennial powerhouse, also in the East. We were the 4th seed last year. I know our goal is to finish higher. I think it's possible, but there are other really quality franchises we got to find a way to get by during the course of the regular season.
So you say this team can be very, very good. Are we talking, playoffs, obviously, a championship, even championship?
And that's really what the ultimate goal is. You know, in our league,
this team, can they do it?
I think they can. And again, I don't think it's by having one player that's going to have this superlative number of goals. I think we could be looking at 2, 3, 4 players that are kind of in that 8, 9, 10, 11 range. I don't think it's going to be one guy carrying the freight. I think it's going to kind of be the group in aggregate. Again, making the playoffs for a 3rd consecutive year, something Sean McCauley has talked about, that's not happened in the history of this franchise.
Which is
in
amazing
terms
stuff.
of winning a playoff game, you got to go back to 2019, for that to be the case, when the Indy 11 were just a few seconds away from hosting the USL Championship match, and it kind of got away late against Lou City. So, frankly, I think making the playoffs, winning at least a round, if not more, that's some of the big goals this team has to put together.
Some high expectations here for Indy 11. I do want to ask you about this because there's nothing like the mic, right? Carroll Stadium, the home location here for Indy 11. We saw better success from this team at home last year. Why was that, and how special can that place be for them this year?
Well, our fan base is tremendous. So, I saw the open of the broadcast, look good, play good, right? And when we debuted those home kits a little while back, we were out at West Fork Whiskey, just across from the training grounds of the Indy 11. Place was absolutely packed. Our fan base is wonderful. There's only a couple of places, maybe Louisville, New Mexico in our league, that even come close to matching the atmosphere of the mic of the Brickyard Battalion and the passion of our fan base. So it is a true home field advantage we have here with the Indy 11.
Okay, before I get you out, I want to ask you, you brought up Louisville. So this rivalry, this rich rivalry, we're not seeing them for a long time. What are we talking about? What the first match?
I'm okay. I'm honestly okay with that. So what you're referencing last year is we played them April the 6th. That was the national television debut of the USL on CBS, and there was a combined 8 goals scored. That was great. I want to make sure I got my ducks in a row before we see the guys that comprise half of LIP AFC, the greatest thing in the history of stuff, that rivalry with Lou City. I'm okay with waiting to play them until the end of August so we get a better idea, what you got.
All right, last thing. Any message to these to the fans out there, Indy 11 fans, these soccer fans who are ready to see some great soccer? You
guys have been wonderful, and you've been wonderful since day number one. Let's hope we bring a championship home for you. Again, I think this is a really talented squad we put together. Hoping 2025 can be a great year.
I'm loving it, and I'm hoping you're going to be very busy all the way late in the fall, right?
I need more to do in November, right?
That's right, man. Greg Greatshaw, of course, he'll be on the call for all the Indy 11 games coming up here on Wish TV and, of course, on Miami TV, Channel 23 as well. He is the best. Thank you, my brother, for coming in. All right, it's time for a break, but we've got more coming your way here tonight on All Access Indy 11. We got a couple of interviews on the way that you're not going to want to miss. And here's what we're talking about. Coming up from 96 teams to the Final Four, the Indy 11 were one win away from playing for the U.S. Open Cup Championship. And this year's team wants to pick up where they left off just one season ago. Our Angela Morian has that story. That's coming up. Plus, Indy 11, they unveiled its home and away kits for the upcoming season. How do the boys in blue feel about the new look? That story straight ahead. All right, we're back here on All Access Indy 11. I'm Anthony Calhoun. Last year, the 11 had an outstanding season. This year, they won even more. Our Angela Morian has more tonight.
The most famous victory in Indy 11's history comes in Atlanta.
The boys in blue are coming off a banner year. Their biggest win? Upsetting MLS's Atlanta United to make their first U.S. Open Cup semifinals in club history. They were the only USL Championship team to get that far.
There was a belief from the coaching staff down to the players that, we could do this. And obviously that belief grows with every single game, because the more games you win, the more confidence you gain.
It was awesome, going as far as we did. I firmly believe we could have made it to the final. If we just stayed on a run, but overall it was really good from the guys.
I think it was great because it put us on the sort of nationwide sort of map. Obviously the competition includes MLS teams, and I was really pleased for the players because they got a lot of recognition, which you don't usually get if you're just playing away week in, week out in the USL.
The last time the boys in blue were here at the mic, it was playing in the playoffs for the first time since 2019. Indy 11 didn't get the result they wanted, but the expectations of making those playoffs remains the same for this season.
If you were to say that we need to be better than last year, that would mean getting to the Open Cup final and finishing the top 3. And I'm not saying we're not going to go to try and get in the Open Cup final, but it's going to be incredibly difficult. And it's going to be incredibly difficult to get into the top 3 because then that discounts all the other teams in the last 5 years that have got in the top 3. And we haven't been one of them. So we need to make sure that we become a regular playoff team before we start thinking about other stuff.
I think our team gets along very well. We enjoy hanging out with each other. We don't need plan team events to hang out. We just enjoy it, and I think that plays a huge part in us making these runs. I believe we'll do it again this year.
We did ourselves proud as a group, as a team. You know, we represented the city, the league well, and hopefully we can do it again.
The Indy 11 will try to go on their next run, starting in the third round of the Open Cup, which they'll host right here in Indianapolis. Angela Morian, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook for updates.
All right, Angela, thanks a lot. We've got more coming your way tonight, folks, on All Access Indy 11 coming up. He's a hometown kid with an amazing story. He arrived on the scene last year with the Indy 11 and has high hopes for his second season with the boys in blue. Our Andrew Chernoff has that story next on All Access Indy 11. All right, welcome back to All Access Indy 11. I'm Anthony Calhoun. There's a lot of young talent on the Indy 11 roster entering the upcoming season, and one of those players to watch is from right here in Indianapolis. Our Andrew Chernoff has more on 19-year-old Logan Neidlinger, who has already made history during his short time with the boys in blue.
Indy 11 midfielder Logan Neidlinger will be the first to tell you that dreams can become reality.
It's definitely surreal. It's just hard to think that a kid from Indy can make it.
The Indianapolis native is getting ready for his first full season as a member of the Boys in Blue.
You know, growing up with Indy 11, it was always a goal to grow up and eventually get to this point.
Last October, Neidlinger signed a professional contract with Indy 11. The contract came just 2 months after he made club history. In August, Neidlinger became the youngest player to ever score a goal for Indy 11 when the then 18-year-old found the back of the net in a match against New Mexico.
I know the guys behind me support me and have confidence in me, so as soon as I got the ball, I just thought shoot, and you know, it was a great feeling looking up, seeing how proud my parents were. So yeah, it was good.
Everything that he's achieved up until this point, he's deserved it. He's worked relentlessly, worked really hard. Humble kid, wants to learn, wants to grow. Future's bright.
The cool thing for Neidlinger is he grew up watching Indy 11. In fact, his family had season tickets during the club's inaugural year. And now getting a chance to play for the Boys in Blue is truly a full circle moment.
My parents always say, like, it's crazy how fast things have changed and how fast you've grown up.
Head coach Sean McCauley credits the older players for working so well with the now 19-year-old.
Sometimes, you know, these young players can go through a period where they need an older player to put an arm around them and say, hey, don't worry about that. And we've got them senior players in the squad who are really good.
They've taught me a lot about what it takes to be a pro, and you know, that's kind of what I've learned and taken into this year.
Neidlinger is hoping to showcase what he's learned beginning Saturday at Miami. Andrew Chernoff, Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much. Great story there. And you know, Andrew, we appreciate that. Logan Neidlinger will be rocking new kits for the 2025 season. Indy 11 unveiled its home and away kits with official apparel partner Under Armour last month. The multi-year partnership with the brand extended beyond the USL Championship and W League game day kits to include Academy League gear as well. The boys in blue are excited for the new look.
I think you put it best. I think they're sick. No, really good. Really impressed with the design. I think it encapsulates the city, you know, the checkered pattern on it and just the flow of it. I think it's fantastic. And yeah, I can't wait to rep it. Not everyone's seen it, so I think this is the first time for some of the lads as well. But I think everyone's impressed. I really like the red one too. I think the red one's probably my favorite.
Oh, they look good indeed. Okay, so here we are, folks. We are less than 24 hours away from the 2025 season opener as the Indy 11 heads south to take on Miami FC down there in Miami. Then the boys in blue, they won both meetings last year, and we'll look to that trend continuing tomorrow night. All the best to Indy 11 as the season is ready to go. And folks, hey, don't forget Wish TV, the place to be for all your news on Indy 11. That's going to do it for All Access Indy 11. I'm Anthony Calhoun. Thank you so much for watching, folks, and good luck to the 11 this upcoming season.